All right, folks, welcome back in. I'm Jake Ellenbogen, and today we're going to be talking about Odell Beckham Jr., who was just waived by the Miami Dolphins. I'm going to get into whether or not the Rams should have a reunion with him or decide not to. Before we dive into it, be sure to like, subscribe, and comment. Be sure to follow me on all social media at JKBogan, including Instagram, TikTok, Twitter, and Kick. And in addition to that, just want to let you guys know that today's sponsor is Via. And Via, well, need a break from crowded stores and endless gift lists. Restore your zen and embrace the natural power of hemp this holiday season with Via. This holiday season, unwind, recharge with Via, whether you're enjoying a quiet evening at home or embracing the festive cheer. Via's premium THC and THC-free gummies will help you find your perfect holiday balance. Via is well renowned for their award-winning THC and THC-free gummies, vapes, THCA flower, soothing topicals, and calming drops, all crafted with the highest quality hemp sourced from trusted, independently owned American farms. And the best part? Via legally ships to nearly all states in the U.S. in discreet packaging directly to your door without a worry to have at all. No medical card required, by the way. So if you're 21 or older, head on over to Via's website link in the description below. Use the code JKBogan and get 15% off your purchase with Via. All right, guys. We got Odell Beckham Jr., who is now going to hit waivers. And I can tell you right now, I don't think anybody is going to claim him. So I think he is going to be a free agent. And right now, he is the betting odds favorite on a few sports books to be a Ram. That is where he is the favorite. The Rams are the favorite to get him. So what's the deal here? Well, he signed a 1-year, $3 million deal with the Dolphins, okay? There is a chance that a team could claim that. There is a chance, but I don't know. He's 32 years old. He might just go through waivers unclaimed. And if he does, well, I think the Rams might consider this. First off, let me remind you that Odell Beckham Jr. was a Ram not that long ago, okay? He was just a Raven, but he was a Ram not that long ago. If you look throughout his career, this is a guy who, yeah, he's dealt with some injuries. He's also, in terms of in the moment, certain moments he's really come up big. He only has 55 yards, 9 catches on 18 targets this year. He's barely been used. So is that on Odell or is that on the Miami Dolphins? I don't know. I do believe when they offered him $3 million a year and he took it, it was a sign that, one, Odell was willing to work for his money, and two, the Miami Dolphins had a plan for him. And I don't think you can work for your money if the team doesn't have, or at least if they have a plan for you, sure, but if they don't hold their end of the bargain. And the Miami Dolphins, they have Malik Washington, a 7th rounder that they really like out of, I believe, Virginia. And they have Jalen Waddle and they have Tyreek Hill, right? And they use the running backs and they've had a lot more involvement with tight ends, mainly being Jonnu Smith. So when you look at the Dolphins, they just have not really utilized Odell Beckham Jr. services. So this was a mutual agreement. Whatever their plan was, it didn't turn out the way they thought it would. But I don't think Odell's done. I think it's very easy to say, oh, he's washed and all that. And if you look at, say, the yards and everything, he hasn't had a 1,000-yard season since 2019. He hasn't had a 600-yard season since 2019. But let's not forget, this is a guy who steps up when his best is required. You saw the game. Obviously, you saw the games that he had, the 4 games for the Rams. He caught 21 of 26 passes for 288 yards and 2 touchdowns, including the Super Bowl. Had a 73.1 success rate, which is the best of his career by a wide margin in any split. And last year, he had a 16.1 yards per catch rate. Okay, so this guy is explosive. He still has that. They just really didn't use him as anything more than a guy that can move the chains. 9 of his receptions, 3 of them were for first downs. So what do I make of Odell Beckham Jr. right now in his career? if you look at his game log, this is what he's had. A catch for 1 yard, this past week. Before that, against Green Bay, a catch for 9. He had 2 catches for 13 against the Raiders. He had 2 catches for 17 against the Rams, including a back-breaking first down that hurt the Rams and pretty much cost him the game. And he had 3 catches for 15 against Buffalo. I genuinely believe that Odell Beckham Jr. can help any team he goes to out on their quest to win a Super Bowl. Now, should the Rams get into this? That is the question. That's the reality of the situation that we have to ask ourselves. Should the Rams get into this? And when you look at last year, again, 565 yards, 35 receptions for 3 touchdowns. He was explosive last year. But the thing about Odell is if you look at it from a long-term standpoint, there's no long-term here. He is 32. He's had some issues injury-wise. But you go back, you look at that Cincinnati game last year, a little bit late in the season too, week 11. It shows you that Odell is not done, okay? You had 4 catches for 116. You have the 4 catch for 97 yards and a touchdown game against the Rams in that week 13 thriller. He's not done. And so I think that explosion is still there, but does it make sense for the Rams? And right now, I would sit here and say it does and it doesn't, and here's why. First off, I think this is going to be fairly low cost. Second, he has familiarity with the offense. That's great. Third, he's explosive. Fourth, this is a locker room guy, okay? Regardless of what the mainstream media tried to tell you about him being locker room cancer and, ignorant fans, the Rams would love to have him back. So much so in 2022, they kept his locker up the entire year just about. They wanted him to return. The coaching staff loves him. He crashed Sean McVay's wedding, obviously in a good way, not negative. And he still talks with Cooper Kupp here and there and what have you. So I think Odell has value to be on this roster. There's a lot of good there. But the bad and why I don't think it makes sense is because of Tutu Atwell's lack of usage as it is. And in addition to that, if you put resources in Odell Beckham Jr., you probably are taking away any opportunity for if somebody else comes along, because this is the time of year where veterans are on teams that aren't going to win or make the playoffs. They're not going to win the Super Bowl. And so they're trying to fight their way out of those contracts. And in this case, Odell won. They agreed mutually. It doesn't always work that way. But if somebody comes along, you want to be able to have some resources where, okay, I can actually claim this guy or I could sign this guy. And the Rams right now have won, 7 of their last 9. Odell would probably not be much of a help as of right now. I think they would really be getting him for the playoffs. And I think really it's more so the story. But as much as we love the story of him being able to come back and win another Super Bowl and maybe getting a chance to play the full Super Bowl instead of going down injured, as much as we love that story, we also have to be real with ourselves. Odell Beckham Jr., when he was last on the Rams, okay, and keep this in mind, this is important to remember, was 29 years old. He did not play in 2022 because of injury. And then 2023, he came back and had pretty much the same type of season that he had in 2021 when you combine his productivity with the Rams and the Browns throughout the regular season. Same amount of games too, 14. Odell is having his worst year of his career, barely was utilized. He's a huge name, but is he really worth the hassle of just going out and doing this? I will say this. I wouldn't do this if it meant Tutu Atwell is going to get less opportunities than he's currently getting. But if you're bringing on Odell Beckham Jr. as a situational guy and to make a run at a Super Bowl, and maybe you look at the red zone and you're like, we need a lift, because Odell Beckham Jr. was important, key and critical in the red zone. if you come to that conclusion, then I think he's worth it. Obviously, you don't have anything to worry about him being locker room cancer or anything like that. But if he's taking away snaps from Tutu Atwell, I already don't feel like Tutu Atwell's getting enough as it is. But if he's taking away snaps from Tutu Atwell, I think that might be going backwards. So I think it's conditional. If you ask me, I think Odell fits this team. I think obviously he had the rapport with Stafford. He's talked, glowing reviews about Stafford. And he obviously loves Cooper Kupp and he loves Sean McVay. I think he could be back. But if he's taking away snaps from, say, Tyler Johnson, I definitely want him back. And something against Tyler Johnson, but I'd just rather have Odell Beckham Jr. on those plays. So I'm curious, and drop in the comments section what you guys think. Now, I think a lot of people would say Odell Beckham Jr. has become an overrated football player. And based on the name itself and the lack of production since 2019, I can understand that. But I don't think the Rams win the Super Bowl without him. And I do think when you're talking this late in the season and the Rams wouldn't be able to get him until we're in week 15, when you're talking that late in the season, it does not matter how many counting stats he has, how many yards, how many touchdowns, how many receptions. It's about to be that clean slate where everyone gets set back down to zero and the postseason's underway. And what I've learned and what we've all learned is that if the Rams decided things were great, Van Jefferson, Robert Woods, Cooper Kupp, if they truly felt that way and didn't go after Odell Beckham Jr. and he went to the Packers, I don't think the Rams win the Super Bowl. Because guess what? Regardless of what you think, whether it was bad voodoo or whatever, I don't believe it was. Obviously, it's just silly. Robert Woods ended up tearing his ACL right the day that Odell Beckham Jr. was signing with the Rams. So just imagine if they balked at it and they're like, no, we're fine. We got all our guys. And Woods goes down. And now you have him not only not available, he's with the Packers. The Packers could have gone to the NFC title game. They could have beaten the Rams. You don't know. We don't know, and luckily we don't have to know. But I just think that's an important thing to remember. You could say, we don't need him. And I know that's kind of like the thing to do. Always kind of push back against, everybody wants this guy. Let's just say, yeah, no, we don't need him. I did that with Devin White, but I gave a lot of reasons as to why, because I don't think Devin White is really that great. Odell Beckham Jr. could end up being a need. This team has dealt with so many injuries that if I have a chance to upgrade the back end of my wide receiver depth, and now instead of going into the postseason with Kupp, Nakua, Atwell, DeMarcus, Tyler Johnson, and Xavier Smith, I'm going into it with Odell Beckham Jr. over Tyler Johnson, which I would say is an upgrade. So that's what you have to look at. To me, I think it's too vital. If you think this team can win the Super Bowl, then you absolutely should just take what the universe is giving you. Odell is a free agent. I think he'll claim clear waivers. If not, it is what it is. And this whole thing is just a total moot point. But if he clears waivers, I think he's a fit for the Rams. No one else has that familiarity except for the Ravens. I think it's really going to be between the Rams, the Ravens, and the Bills. Maybe the Chiefs. But I think I would say the Chiefs too. Yeah. Those four teams, maybe even the Eagles, maybe the Lions. Okay. So you start to see a lot of contenders here. So if the Rams have a shot to add some depth to the wide receiver room and get a little bit better, I think they should take that. Just, you never know. I don't think you can have too many wide receivers in this league. It is a position that you have guys diving at kneecaps when they're trying to make a play. It's a position where you have concussions. It's a position where, there's just a quick turn and you tore your ACL or your Achilles. I think getting Odell is not a bad thing, and I don't think it costs as much as people want to make it out, and I don't think there's any risk. So really, very limited. So I would sign off on it. I think the Rams should bring back Odell. It'd be a fun story, but more so than the story, the business decision behind it is to bolster your depth. And the universe is essentially giving you a free option, a guy with familiarity and a guy that is a culture guy in the locker room. You know he already works, and the history. So there you go. Those are my thoughts. Did I surprise you? Probably not. I love Odell. I always have. But I tried to take that out of it and look at it from the scope. And I think the scope here is that having him makes the Rams a better football team. How much better? Minuscule? I don't really care. But I think in those moments, when you call upon him for a first down, move the chains, or a back shoulder fade in the end zone, I think he's going to come down with that. And I trust him. And that rapport with Stafford. So that's what I'll say. I'm all for bringing back Odell. We'll see how it goes down. What do you guys think below? Let me know. But in addition to that, special shout out to our sponsor, Via, who sponsored today's video. If you're interested, go check out Via, 21 or up, of course. Check out Via, 15% off your purchase using code JKBogan. And I'll see you guys in the next video. Take care, folks. Later. Just want to let you guys know that we are doing all 22 live breakdowns every single week, Rams football related, over on Kick exclusively. That's kick.com/JKBogan if you want to get in on the action. And if you want a little something more than just football, I also do gaming streams as well. So check that out. Link is in the description, and hope to see you there. Do you love talking about the Rams, the NFL, or just want to be a part of a community? Join my free Discord server today. We're over 800 members. We got 24/7 live chat, a level 3 boosted server, the ability to call into JE Live, playing online games with us on Kick streams, toggleable alerts for when I go live on YouTube or Kick so you don't miss a live stream, and exclusive giveaways. Click the link in the description, the comments section, or the link that comes up in the video to learn more and join today.